Welcome to a special edition of the Referrals podcast. Introducing our new Daily Dose. We've assembled the ultimate crisis response team for your business. Generous leaders from around the globe teaming up to teach, guide, and lead you through this time of isolation and quarantine. Now let's meet your host, Michael J. Maher.
Hey everybody, it's Michael J. Maher with another episode of the Daily Dose. Have you ever wondered what integrity-based human influence means? And have you ever wondered how it applies to sales and what you do? Have you ever wondered that? Have you ever wondered what the number one biggest common misconception about sales is? That's what we're going to answer today. Now, I will tell you, I am so excited about today's guest today. I've only recently gotten a chance to know this guy, but I feel like I've known him for my entire life in one way or another. And before I bring him on, though, that's my hook, and you know it was coming. Before I bring him on, I need to do 4 or 5 announcements to make sure that we're all up to speed. First of all, thank you for your patience. I have to give my team credit once again for having a backup plan in case the Zoom to Facebook link doesn't work. Tell you what, we got on through StreamYard. Yay, that's fantastic. I know there's some limitations to StreamYard, but hey, it's better than nothing at all. The other thing too is I want to applaud your patience for hanging out with us for about 10 minutes before we got started today. The 30 morning class, it closes today. You can get in. It's 30mornings.com, 30mornings.com. Today's the last day you can sign up. After today, you're just going to lose a lot of that momentum and value that you could get by signing up in the first few days. So I just wanted you to know that. Secondly, the May calendar has been posted. Check it out. There are tons of great surprises. As a note, May 22nd is Senior Day on the Daily Dose. High school seniors will be honored. High school seniors will be profiled. We will have high school seniors. It's going to be Senior Day. If you have a senior, maybe you make it Senior Skip Day and prom and graduation all in one day, and you hang out with us on the Daily Dose. Now, looking ahead tomorrow, we have Ann Schutte, who is going to talk about how she grew her Facebook group to over 50,000 people. She basically has a small city that she is the mayor of, and it is online. It's a Facebook group. 54,000 people at last check. I can't wait to talk about that. Thursday, you get to hear from one of my coaches. James Malinchek is going to talk about chin up. Let's get to work. And then on Friday, you have heard from him before. By popular demand, we're bringing Don McNaughton back, one of the best leaders in the country. He's going to talk about transitioning through the crisis from the lockdown, stay at home, to what's next. I can't wait for that. It's a great Friday session. Now, this is my reminder to all of you to start your watch party. If you do not know how to do that, it is very simple. Go down to the share button, click on share. You will go up to your options and click start watch party. It will default to Generosity Generation. You do not want to share it in the Generosity Generation group because we're already doing it here. So you want to share that on your personal profile, or for many of you who have done the action items of the Daily Dose, which is create and lead a Facebook group, you would now share this with your Facebook group. And I will tell you, no cuss words. This is 100% safe. I don't care if your community pages and community groups, if they're 11 years old or 111, they're going to get a ton of value from today's Daily Dose and our guest. Speaking of our guest, Sean Callagy is an entrepreneur, national speaker, philanthropist, one of America's top trial attorneys, online personality, and creator of various peak performance technologies. Oh, he's also legally blind. What? Yes. For 23 years, aided by his unique insights, love for people, ability to see and create transformational breakthroughs, Sean has achieved and co-created an incredibly diverse variety of unique successes. Sean has been favorably compared to some of the top speakers and influencers in the world, shared the stage with people that you might know, somebody like Tony Robbins. As a byproduct of his technologies, Mr. Callagy is one of only 2 attorneys out of 1 million attorneys in America to achieve 2 top 100 national jury verdicts between 2014 and 2016, and the only one who was legally blind. He has also collected more than 1/3 of $1 billion on behalf of his healthcare clients. Wow. He's built a 40-person law firm in a little over a year. He publicly spoken more than 1,000 times to audience that are consistently shocked to see what they didn't see. Isn't that interesting? Mr. Callagy is the founder and president of Callagy Law, a more than 100+ team now with offices in 5 states, a charitable foundation, an investment company called Callagy Enterprises, and Callagy Training and Development, which empowers and co-creates results that fulfill dreams through his unparalleled human breakthrough technology. He has the world's greatest 3 minutes online in his 2020 Vision video series. And I have to tell you that I was a guest on his show, Unblinded, that has recently been launched. And I will tell you that I took 3 pages of notes, and I was humbled. I was shocked. I was beaten. I was dragged through the streets, and I came out a better human being. I will tell you that I've never been so nervous in my life going in, and I've never perhaps had so much knowledge coming out in just a 90-minute session. You got to check out Unblinded, everybody. And the leader, appropriately, the leader of Unblinded is here today. We have Mr. Sean Callagy in the house. Sean, welcome to the Daily Dose.
Michael, you are truly remarkable. And that introduction was, I don't even know how to deal with it. Truly remarkable man. And I am so thankful to get to know you and your incredible audience.
Well, it's absolutely my pleasure. I appreciate that. And I will tell you, it's one of those where isn't it interesting that some people we know all of our life, and then some people we can meet very, very quickly. And it's almost like we've known them all our life, And so, I think it's just like, literally, when did we meet? 30 days ago?
About that, yes.
So 30 days ago, and we've already been on each other's show. We've met each other's friends. We know quite a bit about each other, and it's just one of those where you are the master of questioning, empathy. I would almost call it like permission-based mixed with Socratic questioning sales. What do you call your sales technique? Let me just start with that.
Yeah, integrity-based human influence.
Yeah. So what does that mean? Like, what does integrity-based human influence really mean?
So, Michael, 23 years ago, I was horrified to discover that there was a relationship between our ability to influence and our ability to have financial and time freedom. And I was the first person in my direct family line to go to college. I didn't know any of that. We share an athletic background before I went blind. And so it was like, wow, I'm not doing that. So I guess I'm going to have a really hard time making money in the world because I'm not going to go into selling and influencing because it's disgusting and gross. It's bad. And then I realized it wasn't. So my mission became how to learn all of this to gain financial abundance in ways that was about what I believe influence truly is, simply having our message heard, accepted, and acted upon.
Wow.
And that's it. And so my life's game became about how do you figure out how to do this? And once I did, it was sharing it and then sharing what to do with it as I see it. And I'm going to tell you this, brother, and everybody listening out there, I listen to people closely. I study everybody's work. Michael, you have blown my mind. And I'm a student of your work already. And I don't say what I don't mean. And very few people do I respect and appreciate the integrity of their influence. And I do yours. And it's truly an honor. So thank you.
Wow. So I really hope this is being recorded. B, that's what a wonderful way to begin, and what a I mean, just wow, right? I mean, so thank you. And, it's one of those where I just have to say, so, I mean, do you mind if I just go straight to like the questions I'm thinking about versus maybe everything here?
You put yourself through the insanity of our Real Raw yesterday, so I will do anything you want me to do, including jump back in the Atlantic Ocean at over 52 degrees right now. So I will do whatever I can do for you.
Yeah. So, and you're kind of, are you on a solo location right now? You're kind of away to really dive into some content. Is that true or not? What took you to the ocean?
So I am thankful to have homes at the beach. It's the heart and soul of our family. My grandparents, long story, but heart and soul of my family, and a family that did not have money or resources.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm down here back and forth with my children. We also live up in northern New Jersey. So I just go back and forth to keep the creativity flowing, keep working in different environments during quarantine. So it feels a lot less like quarantine, and I love it here. So I'm down here to work. I'm down here to create, down here to share, and to be with you.
Well, thank you for that. And so we share a common background. Some would call it like a rags to riches story. And that I think oversimplifies it all, but so tell us about your beginnings, if you don't mind. Like where are you from and how did, I guess that's the biggest thing is I think if you were a trust fund baby and you inherited a couple $1 billion and then now here we are, that's one thing, but coming from very little or nothing to where you are now is a significant story, one for the movies.
No, well, thank you. So, if I may, let me share a little bit.
Yeah, 100%.
So, my parents got divorced when I was 1, and we're living with my mom's parents, my grandparents, who's eventually bought a beach house 200 meters that away. Right, you could see it from the house by my vision. I could see it staring out my window, and it's 1975. My mom hears the news, and all she is thinking is, why? How is he going to make a living? How will he ever have a family, let alone support one? This is right after she finds out that her son, me, is going to go blind from retinitis pigmentosa, the same condition that her father and my grandfather had. So I'm an athlete growing up. We share that. Captain of the Columbia University baseball team in 1992. I hope to go on to play professionally. I do not get drafted as my eyesight is just affecting me. I was All-State in New York and blah, 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 right? But my eyesight just starts to have the limitations that are going to prevent me from going to the next level. I eventually go to law school. I don't have any idea, Michael and everybody out there, how to study. Yes, I went to Columbia, but I got B's at Columbia. I barely showed up at class because I was in the gym first, not because I was partying. I was in the gym working hard, trying to be the baseball player that I hoped to be. And I go to like law school and there's all these kids that were brilliant studiers. And I was a smart person, I'm not going to deny that, but they were much better and more effective at studying. But somehow, miraculously, I model some systems and processes, just like I did in athletics, and I graduate at the top of my law school class with honors. And so I get my dream job, and here I am. And that's when I realized, and I still have my sight at this point, although it's beginning to diminish. And I realized that the people who are free in money and time, because I'm not, like people think lawyers make a lot of money. I was making an amount of money that allowed me to pay off my student loans, live in a tiny 1-bedroom apartment that overlooked my office building, and go to work for about 70 hours a week. And they're like, hey, just trust us. 8 years, 10 years from now, it's all going to work out. Just do whatever we say. And then the person that was my mentor, who was 8 years my senior, got hurt in a softball injury situation at the firm. So wonderful person, did everything right. And you know what, Michael? They said, hey, Sean, do you want to take over like his spot and be my right-hand person? I'm like, wow, that's amazing. Is he going to become a partner? Like, nah, I don't think he's going to make it. And Michael and everyone, it was in that moment I said, no way. I'm either going to leave this and not have resources. I have $100,000 of law school debt. I have no money. I am going blind, but I'll coach football and baseball and teach high school for as long as I can. And and I'll figure out the rest. And the other part of me said, yeah, but like, you're not going to have any money because you owe all this money to law school. Like, what are you going to do? And I felt like I had to choose between integrity and money. It was one of the worst times of my life, 1997. I found a pathway through reading books, including Tony Robbins' Awaken the Giant Within, that led me to tons of other learning. And I quit my job 6 months out of law school. I started my own law firm. I said, you know what? I'm going to see if I could sell the hardest thing in the world to sell with integrity as me as a lawyer. But you know what? People should hire me as a lawyer. All the things I did in moot court and law school, I know my influencing skills are better. I know my work ethic is more. And there's this hierarchical system in the law that doesn't make any sense because I have to wait 8 years to be somebody because I'm going to be an indentured servant. That's all it's about. I have the skills now. It's crazy. It's an economic suppression model. So I started my own law firm as an experiment. Most people thought I was completely delusional and totally insane. And in fact, Michael, at my law firm, they offered me counseling, saying I was having some type of adjustment disorder would be the only reason I'd be quitting this incredible job since I was their number one draft pick and leaving. I'm like, thank you, but no. So I leave. I'm scared every day. I want to quit every day. I wanted to quit when I woke up. I want to quit at lunchtime, and I wanted to quit when I went to bed. That's a fact for the first year. By the second year, I bought this beach house, and I had 40 people working for me, and I couldn't believe it. Not as contractors, as employees. I was the sole equity owner, and to this day, I'm the only person I've ever heard of that built a 40-person law firm with no equity partners 2 years out of law school. And it's not about me. It's about the formula I discovered because there's people smarter than me, more talented than me, more experienced than me, who are not living that life because they didn't have a formula. And it went on from there. But it was the awakening that there is a way to build things. And it's so readily apparent, and people just don't know the system and don't follow the system. So that's how it began and on from there.
Okay, I have 4,000 questions, Sean. Thank you for that. I mean, that was amazing. And it's what, so, I mean, here's the thing, right? Is the first question I have is you were choosing integrity versus money. And maybe you saw the writing on the wall in the future as well, is you got into opening your own firm 6 months out of law school. Is that correct? I want to verify I had that. 6 months out of law school, you knew the law. And what's interesting is I'm going to throw some things out here. You didn't necessarily know rainmaking, how to get clients, and you didn't know how to run a business. Are those two things just assumptions of mine, or are they true?
I didn't know rainmaking. I didn't know how to run a business. And I did not know the politics and dynamics of being an attorney. All I knew is I could find the law as well as anybody. I believed that from law school. And I knew if I could stand up in front of a group of people from my practice in moot court and law school, I could influence. I knew nothing else. So I knew virtually nothing except the most raw of raw skill sets.
So what did you hinge your firm on? Like what, I guess when you wanted to quit at breakfast, you wanted to quit at lunch, and you wanted to quit at dinner, like what drove you? What was the thing that was like, I can do this differently? What was that difference?
I'd say in the beginning, the difference was that I believed that I could effectively out-lawyer and out-influence people. And it was very soon thereafter that I began to see how much of an integrity gap existed in the legal system. And so I became very interested in that space as well. But in the beginning, I had no idea what I was going to do, where I was going to generate work from. I started a networking group. It was failing horribly. And I had so much to learn. And I was so utterly petrified. And it was the synthesis of 3 works: Awaken the Giant Within by Tony Robbins, Money-Making Secrets of something by J. Abraham, and How to Make a Fortune from Public Speaking. And I synthesized those 3 works together, and then the many works of others that began to build my model and my formula out.
All right. Can you repeat those book titles? Because everybody that's listening right now is furiously scribbling those titles. Now, here's the thing. I'm going to give away the end, but like, they don't even necessarily have to read those because you're about to like synthesize those for us. but I will tell you, they will ask until they lose the lesson. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So let's give them the answer, and then let's proceed. Right? What are the Awaken the Giant Within?
Awaken the Giant Within by Tony Robbins.
Yeah.
I don't even know if this book is still in print. Jay Abraham is a friend and spoke on my stage, and Tony Robbins is somebody that I've had the privilege and honor of getting to know quite well. I reluctantly use the word friend. Like, Jay Abraham is a friend. We text.
Yeah.
Tony and I have texted, and I love him very much and believe in him, but I would call him more mentor than friend. Carefully.
Yeah.
But so Jay Abraham's work is a leather-bound book. I don't know that it ever was sold generally accessible, but it was something like Money-Making Secrets of or Success Secrets of a Marketing Genius. It's
Okay.
a maroon $500 leather-bound book that you could probably find somewhere online.
Mhm.
That's the second book. And the third was a book, and I forget the author, Michael, but it's simply called How to Make a Fortune from Public Speaking. And you can absolutely Google it, because I have Googled it and I've seen the cover, and I'm like, that's the book,
Yeah.
which I bought for $1 in a garage sale. How to Make a Fortune from Public Speaking. Yes.
That's unbelievable. That's fantastic. So what's interesting is a lot of times we say on the show, you are who you are, and you will be who you are in 3 years, unless you read the books, meet the people, and go to the conferences. That's how you kind of change who you are and get that education. So, I guess it's like, I have so many questions on how you have generated business and kind of like in the very beginning, like, how'd you get your first client? I mean, I'm genuinely curious in the answer to that question.
Yeah. So I began, because of Jay's work, I began to think about strategic alliances. So the first work that I did is I did some work on a fixed fee basis, a whopping $28,000 per year, true number, right? To do a ton of work for a firm. And then it was in Social Security disability. And it was also in some space of like other contingent fee type work. And that was the very beginning. So I had some minor base involved, and I would go on hearings, and if I won, I would receive a percentage of the winnings. So that was the original segment. And then the first client work I directly achieved is a woman was owed money under a contract as a headhunter by from her partner, or the person that she worked, with him or under. And it was, she wasn't paid. Then, sometimes, Malcolm Gladwell talks about the reality that opportunity is a critical factor in how all these things work. I think he may underestimate how we create opportunity, but I was working hard and looking to create opportunity. And I also think I was blessed by God and got a phone call from somebody that I knew that said there was a crazy chiropractor who needed help collecting his PIP money. I had no idea what any of that meant. Mm-hmm. I said, what the heck is a PIP arb? And set up the meeting for tonight. And I drove to his house. He had a lion, yes, a lion in his backyard in a cage. I'm not saying I agree or chastise that, right? But this is like Tiger King before Tiger King. And we fed the lion. We hung out at his house. And I was able to convince him with integrity to give me a chance to help him collect money. And he was very astute in his decision to do so, because 3 months later, I delivered $3 million to his house in a case he had been with a giant law firm mixed up in this complicated litigation. And unfortunately, Michael, I was not on a contingency and got paid, but I did get paid $55,000. For me, $55,000. Now, if I had said to him, give me a third of it, he would have. It would have been $1 million, but I couldn't have been more grateful for that $55,000 because it launched me forward. So that was the first moment, and it came in we'll call that month 6, and that was extraordinary. And then I'm like, there's something here, and I invented that industry in New Jersey. And I said to myself, just to share this, I had said, if I could ever do 100 cases like this a month, my goodness, that would be an unbelievable business. And people were like, that's impossible. How would you ever be able to get to that place? Well, a few years later, I was at 1,000 cases per month. And I thought it'd be 100. And then we did bunch of other stuff. But I realized that I use public speaking, leveraging, but that's the mechanism of how it got off the ground.
So, right from the get-go is so a friend referred you the chiropractor. And just so you know, anytime you want to drop, he had a lion into a story, I just want you to know, it's like, he had a lion. What? You you check your 6 on that one. You're like, what did he just say? So, yeah. And then you had the business
lion's name. I'm sorry, the lion's name was Isis, long before this Isis, but it was. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. And then you had a lady who was basically had to deal with a headhunter. And how did you get connected to her?
Oh boy, that's a great question. So I was involved in a networking group, BNI, and I was president of my BNI group. And one of the people in that group said, "Hey, I have this friend. Her name is Susan, and she's got this problem. Would you like to talk to her?" So I had started my own networking group.
So referral networking group.
Yes, sir.
Right. And how did you get the business that paid you the $28,000 flat fee?
That was a referral, also through close family connection.
Yeah. So without those 3, we're not talking to Sean Callagy today. If you really think about it, because we have to have momentum to get started. We have to have something. You're taking on these cases that turned into great opportunities. But it's interesting is we've got to do something to get the initial opportunity. So I always love digging. The other thing that I love about this, Sean, is you remember. You know what I mean? You remember, and this was 23 years ago.
I'll tell you the name. John Anzalone was the attorney that referred me the case, and the chiropractor. He's still a friend. And he is currently the vice president of the New Jersey Administrative for Justice, like the Trial Association. We're still friends to this day, but sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, drop the mic. I mean, if we don't get anything else out of it, the fact that you're still friends, that's my entire philosophy in a nutshell on this side, right? That's not to take away from everything else we're going to talk about here, but it's just that's powerful. That's a big part of this. So let's jump into the evolution of your integrity-based human influence, right? So what was the one thing you got out of Awaken the Giant Within? And I know none of these are rehearsed questions and you're hating me right now, but it's like, I know I can have a real conversation with you. So, you're strong enough that I could ask you literally anything and it would come out wisdom. I believe that.
Thank you, brother. 2 things. 1, fear is something we can conquer. Tony Robbins taught me how to conquer and utilize my fear. 1. 2, he taught me that you could model anything. So if you're going to go out and try to do anything, find somebody incredible at doing it, like you, Michael, are incredible at doing what you do, and model them. So I am modeling you now because there's things that I believe you have distinctions on that are better than mine in certain spaces. So I want to learn how you utilize generosity, because I'm incredibly generous, with consistency and intention the way that you do. That's an example. So 2 things: control and utilize my fear. 2nd, model constantly. That's what I got from the Giant Within.
Yeah. So now let's go to Jay Abraham's the money making secrets of a marketing genius, or the success secrets of a marketing genius. We'll figure out the title in a little bit. Yeah. But what was the one thing you got out of that book?
So from Jay, I learned the power, and I wouldn't have said these words in the book, of 2 things.
Yeah.
Strategic alliances, which I now call ecosystem mergers. It's a longer conversation, but strategic alliances to create exponential leverage. So I learned, what is a strategic alliance and how does it create exponential leverage? Said differently, how do I create a ton more sales meetings of a higher quality? That's the boom that I got out of Jay's work.
Are you enjoying the Daily Dose? Want to connect with thousands of other business owners that are winning the referral game while working from home right now? Head over to the Generosity Generation Facebook group. Connect with leaders, visionaries, and business owners from all over the world. Go to www.joingengen.com. That's www.joingengen.com.
All right, now we're going to go to this is so amazing. It's you highlighted 3 succinctly different books. One is mindset, one is strategy, and then let's go to how to make a fortune in public speaking. What did you get out of that book?
I got out of that book really an accelerant to the third category, which is influence, and also a little bit strategic, was the way to create more strategic alliances at a greater rate was through public speaking. Right?
Yeah.
And it's, so I'll leave it there. Yes.
Yeah. So first of all, if you're a CRT, a certified referral trainer with us, I want you to sign in right now. Put CRT in the comments below, because you are going to be required to listen to this interview. So that's amazing. And also, for those of you that have questions on CRT, go to them. They can answer it for you.
I want CRT. How do I be a CRT? I want to be a CRT. We'll talk more about that.
I would love to talk about that. I think being a CRT and then having you teach at CRT is the perfect way to go, right? I think I believe that Tony Robbins could come to CRT and learn a couple of things. No offense to the greatest public speaker of our known time, but I truly believe that.
Michael, and he would believe it. I have sat, I'm going to tell you this about Tony Robbins. I have sat and experienced him through my peripheral vision.
Yeah.
Him take notes like a maniac in every situation imaginable. So he is I agree with you. He would learn from your work, and he is the consummate student to this day. So
I love it. I love hearing that, right? Because that's not what we see, right? Yeah. You are able to see the thing. And I love one of the things that you do really well is you champion others. And there's this little phrase that I say, it's easy to champion a champion, right? Is if you want people to champion you, go first, champion others. What happens when you champion others is, first of all, the people you are championing feel great, but also when you champion others, it's really attractive for you, because when you champion others, people look at the person that you're championing and go, okay, if I need those services, I'm going to go there. But what they then do is they look at you, and I know you're not strategic with it. You're doing it genuinely. And I love that. But it's like, they also look at the champion and they go, you know what? I need to get to know that person, because if I'm good and I do a good job, they're likely to champion me. Well, how do they know that? Well, you just modeled it. You just showed that if somebody does a good job, you're going to champion them in front of others. And those are the type of people we love to meet. We love to hang out with. We love to be friends with. So,
Michael, can I add one thing? So just on this point,
yes.
Sometimes we don't see people and understand them. I would be remiss if we brought his name up, but I didn't share this. I was at Tony Robbins' house last March for 3 full late night segments with his inner circle grouping. No cameras, nobody watching, no people, no nothing. It was just Tony and I in his backyard. And I said, with one other person he was talking to, and I just squeezed his arm. I said, I gave him a thumbs up. I was leaving. He grabs me by the arm. He goes, hold on, how you getting out? I said, I'll be good, Tony. I got my peripheral. He goes, no. He stops his conversation. He takes me by the hand, and Tony Robbins held hands with me from the depths of his backyard all the way through his house, out the front door to the bus. Nobody watching, nobody seeing, no nothing. So I want to share that is my experience of who that man is. So thank you.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's what we need to hear, because the media is going to paint it one way. There's a public self and there's a private self, and what the beauty, what I think is beautiful is when the private self and the public self are one. They're authentic, they're true, they align, it makes sense. So what's a big common misconception about sales? And what is that common misconception?
Yeah. Well, I bet Grant Cardone $250,000 for charity. I have not gotten the phone call back yet. And we've had people who've sent it to some of his key people. That sales is not somebody wins and somebody loses. That sales is not saying that you're going bankrupt to get attention eyeballs to market when you're not. Right? And that it is based in integrity. So the most common misconception is that you need to convince somebody of something different than reality, as opposed to learn and connect with people authentically, which, Michael, is what you teach, brother, right? Connect with people authentically, open up their listening, and share truth. And everybody wins. The most common misconception is it's about winning or losing, somebody versus somebody, and manipulating and like pushing. Yeah. Those are all misconceptions about selling to me.
100%. You are, and just so you know, you're preaching to the generosity generation, thousands of people who get it. You know, 10 years ago, you would have been preaching to me and maybe one other, and maybe my wife. You know what I mean? Maybe she might have been in the room, but it's one of the, and she would have just been there to like support me and pat me on the back, you know, good job, Michael, maybe this thing will take off, you know, but it's one of those where it's like, that is so what it's all about. I mean, and here's the beauty, Sean, is this quarantine times has really proven the service model over the sales model.
Yes, sir.
Do you believe that? Have you seen maybe some stories like that, or seen some things that have come out like that?
Brother, in ways that are indescribable. And that's what we're doing with the Real Raw and helping people with speaking engagements. And you're doing with the Daily Dose, giving, serving, sharing. Yes, I was privileged right as we went into Corona to be part of raising $20 million for ending sex trafficking. I've seen some of the most incredible generosity from people with nothing to people with a lot, and everywhere in between. So I agree. It's an incredible reset on humanity.
So we can't get sales through manipulation, overcoming objections, and cornering people and manipulating and overwhelming them, right? Are you telling me that we no longer should try to get sales by preying on the weak? Is that what you're saying?
Amen.
That rather we should maybe get sales by partnering with the strong, and that's possible? Are you saying that's possible?
I hope so, because that's what we're chatting about right here today.
Yeah. So how is it possible? So how do we do that, Sean? Like, how do we get sales with, you know, this human influence model versus versus the old way of getting sales?
Yeah. So I believe, and we'll see how, I'm sure this is an alignment, and you have your language, I have my language, right? But I think a lot of these concepts are quite similar, where I call it ecosystem merging. So my belief structure is, Michael, if starting its most fundamental, if you're a chiropractor in Rivervale, New Jersey, and across the street is a hair salon, the most basic fundamental reality is you want to spend the least amount of money, time, and effort in generating more people to become aware of the incredible things that you do, either in hair or in chiropractic. So it's super simple and efficient way, one of many, to come together to work together will be to say, hey, let's do an event. I'll bring 5 people and you bring 5 people. And let's do it twice, once in my facility, once in your facility. Now, each person has met 10 people that are new, they did not know before, and they spent no additional time doing anything to gather those people. So that would be an example of mutual value, integrity-based giving, where 1 + 1 equals a lot more than 2, because you've minimized the amount of time that you've had to spend in meeting new people to share your amazingness with. And I could play that game for like a month and the million permutations of it, but that would be its most basic and fundamental. Making so far?
Yes, I'm 100% aligned. And you said the magic word of event, by the way. So I love that example. Yeah.
Extraordinary. And we could like go on and play with that for a long time. You say event, I say stage and microphone. I say that everything that we create is rooted on a stage and a microphone, whether it's speaking in front of 15,000 people at, a UPW event, or it's speaking across the table to 1 or 2 people. It's all a stage and a microphone.
Or doing the prayer at Thanksgiving for your family, right? I mean, just be a better communicator no matter what. And how do you do that? You practice, you become better. So Sean, I have to tell, I mean, it's so, like, I want to ask you 100 questions, and I'm trying to pick out the best question in my head to deliver the most value to my audience. And it's one of those where we're just going to have to keep talking. It's just one of those where, I mean, so another thought too is and I would like your thoughts on this. And once again, I know, I mean, the next two questions I have, Sean, just so you know, are how many minutes do you blow dry your hair each morning? And what actor do you most resemble with your Corona do? So those are my two next questions. Okay. So should I ask those and then go to another question or yeah?
Sure, of course.
So how many minutes do you blow dry your hair each morning?
So that's a funny question, because we have a lot of challenging discussions and debates about that with people in Unblinded. So I am an incredibly slow person at getting ready because I do think a lot. And I would say on average, the blow drying process from start to finish takes somewhere around 7 to 8 minutes. The entire process to hairspray completion. So I go 7 to 8 minutes.
So that's awesome. And so 7 minutes is great. So I want everybody to comment below. First of all, I want everybody to comment how many minutes do you blow dry your hair each morning? So everybody, and Sherry, if you'll put a 0 for mine, I don't use a blow dryer, though my hairstylist says, please, I use a lot of gel. So I tend to shape it by gel and brush versus the blow. But my hairstylist Trey keeps saying, dude, you gotta blow dry your hair. So everybody put below, like some people are putting 8, some people are putting 40 minutes, some people. And then I want everybody, like, as you're doing that, I want everybody below to put, what actor does Sean resemble with his Corona do? So everybody put your guess for what actor he most looks like, or you can say Michael most looks like some actor, and trust me, I will find out who says what, just so you guys know that. So not to load this, but all right. So what actor does Sean look like? What actor do I look like? So, all right. So now I'm going to go. So what actor do you resemble? You know what? I'm going to let them guess. We'll come back to it. That sound good?
Yeah, no, I'd love to know, because I'm
okay.
A little stumped on that one. I usually have quick analogies, and I'm like contemplating.
Yeah, I think I've got an answer for who I think you look like. So
who is it?
I'll tell you in a little bit. Tell you in a little bit. All right, now let me write it down so I remember to come back to it.
All right.
Right. The faintest ink is strongest than the strongest memory. Right. Yeah. So that's a Chinese proverb. So all right, now I wrote a book called The 7 Levels of Communication. In it, I wrote about the informational zone and the influential zone. And there are ways to communicate as a business owner. And the bottom levels are advertising, direct mail, and electronic communication, like email and that kind of thing. And I put those in the informational zone. They're good for informing, confirming, updating. And then the middle zone is handwritten notes. And then the 3 levels at the top are phone calls, events and seminars, and one-on-one meetings. So that's the top 3 levels. The top 3 levels are what I call the influential zone. If you want to sell, convince, or influence, my recommendation is to do it on a phone call, at an event, or in a one-on-one meeting. And as we all know, most sales, eventual relationships, consultations are in a one-on-one setting. Now, in today's world, I say this all the time, is we were in the industrial age. We have been in the informational age for some time now, and we are due for a new age. And I believe it's the influential age. That's the evolution of businesses in the environment. Is we need to, many people have mastered the informational age, but you know what? The consumer is no longer taken in by those who have mastered. They're the influential age. We need to manage and expand and improve our influence. It's all about influence in the future. And I think the future started in 2010, but this is where it's heading. I'd love your thoughts on that and debunk it, poke holes in it, go on the Sean Callagy angle that I know you're going to go.
Brother, I mean, Michael, like, I wish we could talk for 40 hours. I could not agree with you more. And the real raw role play would fall directly into what you're sharing. Because I sat back and said, how am I going to demonstrate to people as efficiently as possible, somebody like Michael Maher, all these incredible people, that I'm not just some other guy yapping. How am I going to do it? If I could demonstrate that I have influence as a superpower, because it is a superpower, it's the only number one, and they can experience it in like one session with remarkable people, now we can have a conversation. So watch this, Michael, to show how much I agree with you. Would you agree with this statement that your appreciation of my skill set, influence ability, interest, your curiosity and interest in me rose dramatically after the Real Raw, where it was before and where it was after? You may have liked me with a nice conversation. Like, how much more did it increase after the Real Raw? Honestly.
So I'm going to be totally honest. You were already at a 9.5, right? I mean, we'd already had a couple of conversations. So it went to a 10, and the 0.5, just so you know, totally honest, was, can I trust him? That was the 0.5, right? So, and 9.5 was, I just was like there, I was there, but it's like, all right, let me see it, right? Let me see you go to work. And so it was like a 9.5 to a 10. And just so you know, I do use the scale a lot of I call it the relationship scale, right? And it's 0 to 10, and a 9 and 10 are what I call the referral zone, or it's where people can be influenced and are recommending people. They're taking action on your behalf. That's a referral zone. So I was already ready to refer you. And then you took it to a 10.
Can I just say this? This is scary. We're living like parallel universes. So you have the scale, but your scale, one more time, is the scale of relationship?
The relationship scale. Yeah. 0 is somebody you've never met. 1 through 3, no chemistry, not going to work. 4 is somebody you can spend 3 minutes with. 5 is somebody you can spend 3 hours with. A 6 is somebody you can spend 3 days with. A 7 is somebody you can spend 3 weeks with. An 8 is a client, somebody who's entrusted you with their money. And 9 is what I call a champion, somebody who is referring you at least like 1 a year. And then a 10 is the holy grail. It's an ambassador who is speaking highly of you, referring you willingly, who is literally a walking, talking billboard, unpaid salesperson for you and your business, which I am for you.
No, and I am for you. This is remarkable. So if I drop this in, and maybe, I love that. I'm going to use that. And I always use everything in site source. So you're, of course, source. So here's something I might be a source for. The difference between a 9.5, if you look at it on the income scale of the United States and then correlate it to influence, just the income scale is somebody making about $150,000 a year is a 9.5. 9.9999 makes $56 million a year. So the difference between a 9.5 and a 10 or 9.999 is extraordinary. So thank you. And for everybody listening out there, I believe this, and Michael, you can share what you believe, of course, it's your show. I think the chasm between a 9.5 and a 10 is still extraordinary. And 9.5, 9.999. That's something I always teach and share. So yeah, I love your scale. I have a related, but this different scale. I love yours. We'll use it. You're welcome to please, share mine. And that micro distinctions of mastery, we call it. It's a scale of mastery, lead to exponentially different results as you move from 9.5 to 7 to 9.9 to 9.99, 9.999. Any thoughts?
Yes. So here's the thing, right? I've been looking at the whole scale. You've been looking at the 9.5 to 9.999999. So it's one of those where it's a perfect marriage, because it's just like, all right, here's the relationship scale. And that's why I say the client is just an opportunity, right? Getting somebody as a client is not the end all be all. Too many people think that's the sales, right? Getting a client is the end all be all. No, getting an ambassador is the end all, is what we really want to do. We don't want to be transactional in our transaction, in our business. We don't even want to be relational, which a lot of people, we want to be transformational in our business relationship, right? I'm not talking us, we're transformation coaches, but I truly believe that every business should be transformation. We should transform them from somebody who doesn't know us to a client to an ambassador. Like, the goal is an ambassador, not a client. And what you've done is you're like really, really focusing on this influence piece of, you know what, how do we get more ambassadors? And you've been really focusing on the 9.5 to 10 part of the scale your entire life, right?
Yeah.
So it's like you're the scalpel, right? So,
and I didn't have what you just, so this is where I'm always like ripping it open raw. And sometimes people on my team are like, all right, and not, like, and I have 125 people that work for the firm, and then we have all the Unblinded people, staff. So many times, your language, let me say it more simply, your language of client versus ambassador, and the way you did that is genius, brother. Genius. I love that distinction, because it fills in a little bit of gap. Like, okay, so you get to a 9.999. I get the 56 million thing. It's like, no, like Michael Maher says, then you have an ambassador. That's it. It's amazing. Thank you.
Well, thank you. And there's so many things that we could talk about around the ambassadorship. One is, I believe that to get ambassadors, be an ambassador. That's one of the first things, is like, you go first, right? Be an ambassador for a company, for somebody. And like, I'm an ambassador for you. I'm an ambassador for my wife. I'm an ambassador for Mandy Thacker, who is my right-hand person at the company. I'm an ambassador for my partners, my sponsor partners, and things like that. It's like, be an ambassador. People love to partner and sponsor my stuff because they know they have to go through a filter to make it happen. And B, that I'm going to champion them from stage, and I'm going to like make sure the event is a win for them, if at all possible. But it's one of those where, thank you for saying that, just so you know. The other part of it too is that there's two sides to this scale, right? It's the relationship with another, and then it's, what are we doing for ourselves to become more influential, right? So there's kind of the be, do, have, is you want to have ambassadors, like, be an ambassador. And what's amazing about it is kind of like, you're giving us the formula for being an ambassador, Wow, and then this do the things that an ambassador would do is I think a lot of the strategies that I teach, but I guess I was just thinking out loud on that.
Listen, I agree. There's no work in the world right now. Well, I'm going to give a distinction. Yeah. We have a gentleman by the name of Chris Voss, who wrote Never Split the Difference, former FBI hostage negotiator.
Yeah.
In the space, and he's come on the Real Raw, and he's amazing. There's no people's work in the world I am more interested in right now than Chris's, in the space of some of his boundaries around no, and your work in labeling ambassadorship, referrals, and generosity. So, and that's the truth. These are the two works in the world right now that I am far and away the most interested in. So thank you.
Wow. Well, thank you. And so let's say somebody wants to come closer to you. They're attracted, right? Because you look like Tim Robbins, Ryan Gosling, Kevin Spacey, all mixed together.
Okay.
I mean, I'd take those, right?
Thank
you.
And which do you think my Corona do looks like? What was your take?
That was my answer, right? I think Tim Robbins was my first thought, and then like Ryan Gosling, right? You could be Ryan Gosling's older brother right now,
Very cool.
And, those are lead characters right there,
Thank you. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that.
So, how do where do you want them to go? You know what I mean? I like if I'm a listener right now, it's like, I want more of that guy. Like, I want more of Sean Callagy in my life. Like, what does that look like? What's next?
So we do a daily huddle, 8:30 a.m. Eastern time. And we have hundreds of people live. We have thousands of people in replay watching the huddle from 8:30 a.m. Eastern time to 9. And it's the way to get your day started. It is not just motivational, inspirational. It's talking about the concepts we're referring to here. So that's the Unblinded Huddle each and every morning. And then we have what we had a ton of fun with Michael on yesterday, the Real Raw role play. And we're actually expanding that, Michael, into the Real Raw Opens. And there might be some fun stuff we could do in that space as well together, where we're going to have 1,000 people go through Real Raws in June, actually go through them. And so it's a longer story for a different day, but it's the Real Raw, the Unblinded Real Raw role play. So unblindedhuddle.com is like your jump off point. You want to find all this fun stuff. You can go to the Unblinded Facebook page, and that's what's up.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's yeah. So I will tell you that every interaction, brother, draws me in. I have to tell you these two Helen Keller quotes. Not that anybody's ever quoted Helen Keller when they interview you, but
actually, it's never happened. It's never happened.
Yeah. So really, it's never happened at all.
Yes, never.
Right. So there's one about walking with a friend in the dark. Let me see. Okay, I can't find that one. So I have two. Right. Yep. The best and most beautiful things in the world cannot be seen or even touched. They must be felt with the heart. And that's like number one is it's one of those where it's like, you may not see me, you may not hear me, but you're going to feel me, right? With you, like, I feel you, right? We didn't connect verbally. We connected soulfully, in my opinion. Like,
I agree.
Like that. And it's like, you bottled that somehow, right? You've bottled kind of how to do that and this empathy and just being like, what you've really bottled is listening.
Thank you.
You have mastered listening. And I'm not sure if there's maybe anything more powerful than bottling listening,
Thank you. And we do, I say that there's 7 levels of listening.
Wow.
Negative 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And yeah, so amen to that. And I have a lot to say on that, but I'll leave it there. Thank you for seeing me. I appreciate that enormously.
My pleasure. And so also, I'm going to formally ask if your daughter, who is a high school senior, would like to speak on Senior Day, which is May 22nd. It will be 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern. It may go a little longer than that, just based on all of the things that are being done in the background, but would love to have her speak for 3 minutes or be a part of that in some way. And I know that you haven't asked her on that, but I would love that.
Yeah, I will do everything in my power to make that a reality. So her name is Courtney, and I will be a huge advocate of it and influence of it. And I will get back to you right away with her answer.
I love it. And the quote that I want to end with is, the only thing worse than being blind is having sight, but no vision. And we talk about vision on this a lot. In fact, we talk about people's tombstone, what do you want written on your tombstone? And what's worse than what's written on your tombstone is a blank tombstone. Imagine a tombstone that's blank. Nobody could find anything to say about you. That'd be the worst. So then it's like, what is your vision of what you want written on your tombstone? And we always say, listen, you don't want 2020 salesperson of the year written on your tombstone. You usually want these words around love, generosity, and appreciation, usually. So let's build your life. Let's build your business on a base of love, generosity, and appreciation. You can be the way you are at home, and you can be the way you are at work, and it's attractive. It's influential. It's amazing. It's beautiful. And Sean, I don't know what's in store for the two of us, but I can't wait to see what it is. I don't have necessarily like a vision laid out or a path laid out, but I know that it encompasses like walking the path with you. And I just am so appreciative of where this is going and what the future holds. But even more powerfully, I'm appreciative of the now, which is you being here on the Daily Dose today.
Well, thank you, Michael. This has been a remarkable gift. And if I may, because you made me think, and I'd love to share right now, what popped for me, if it was my tombstone, would be he loved, he gave, and he believed. That's what came up for me in that moment. So thank you for bringing me to that place.
Yeah. Wow. That's what should be on your tombstone. That's beautiful. Mine is like, if you gave him an ounce of interest, he gave you a ton of love. Right. And you know, amazing. Love, you know, be love, do generosity, have prosperity is like my theme for life, you know? So that's some powerful stuff, man. I'll tell you, you know, I promised everybody that we'd be done in an hour. We're coming up right on an hour. Yeah. And this we've got to do it again. You know, down the road, we got to figure out, do another live. And I would love to ask everybody, like, do you want us to do this again? Do you want us to have Sean back and go into a deeper conversation on influence, you know? And yeah, so we've got no yeses yet, Sean. So you're not coming back. I'm just kidding. So I will tell you, thank you so much for being on today. I really, really appreciate it.
Michael, thank you. And for everybody listening, thank you out there. And every single thing that you want to create in your money, time, and magic is available, coming from your heart and integrity. So love you and thank you.
I love it. I love it. Everybody, thank you so much for being here for today's Daily Dose of Positivity and Productivity. We will be joined tomorrow by someone who has built a small community of her own, an ecosystem, to use Sean's word, of over 50,000 people. She's a realtor, and she could be the mayor of this community. You're going to learn more about that tomorrow. So please check us out on the Daily Dose right here in the Generosity Generation group. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate all of you, love all of you, and we'll see you tomorrow.